Great to have you with us. Final hour for a Monday, January 3rd, our first live show of the new year. Good to have you with us. Also good to have Philip Ballard with us. He's the Chief Communications Officer and Head of Investor Relations for HotelPlanner.com. They deal with a lot of group sales for groups around the country. Much of their business comes through Las Vegas, where we have on a good year 43 million passengers come through our airport. And they come for conventions and sales outings, all kinds of different things. Philip Ballard, first of all, thanks for joining us. Happy New Year. Thanks for coming on with us.
Happy New Year, Kevin. It's great to be here. Thanks so much.
What exactly is HotelPlanner.com?
HotelPlanner.com originated as a group booking site back in 2004, and in the past nearly 20 years, we've evolved into a one-stop shop with proprietary artificial intelligence that powers our hotel booking engine. So whether you're a group or an individual, we encourage you to go on and book your hotel stays with HotelPlanner.com. We also own Meetings.com as well.
At a time when a lot of folks are concerned over the new Omicron variant, your organization is saying that your business is up, your business is doing just fine, thank you. Is that true?
It is true. We believe that Omicron seems to have hardened people's resolve to travel, and people are taking a risk-based approach. They understand that, they've seen this movie before with the Delta variant and now the Omicron. It's certainly maybe more infectious, but, less deadly. We've actually seen an uptick in searches and bookings since these two variants. And in fact, we've seen more calls to our call center because we have a gig economy-based call center that matches people to where they want to go. So if you want to go to Boston, we'll connect you with a Boston citizen. Or if you need to speak to someone in Spanish, we can connect you there. But people, in times of uncertainty and confusion, want to speak to a real live agent that can give them localized and personalized and customized advice. So that was our big pandemic pivot last year. And the proof is in the pudding. We're seeing strong results. So, for instance, the major online travel agencies last year were all down about 50%. We were only down about 31%.
And now you are rebounding rather strongly. I'm curious. We have a cottage industry in this town. It's called weddings, and my understanding is that weddings are up. Am I right on that?
You are absolutely right. Weddings are back. They've been back, but they're certainly returning strong in 2022. A lot of people, now that they've come through, past this, holiday, coma period and taking a few weeks to take some time off, they're already starting to plan their summer weddings, their fall weddings. In the near term, the ski trips, people are planning those, and then people are starting to plan already 6 months out for their summer vacations with their families, their college reunions, their family reunions, and indeed weddings. In fact, one of the most popular destinations this past year has been Las Vegas. So it's the Consumer Electronics Show is back on, and so that should be a good bellwether for the return of corporate travel as well.
Are you surprised? And again, just in the last week, the information may not have reached you, but we've been very closely tracking this whole idea of the CES and the fact that Microsoft and Meta and a couple of other organizations have pulled out, and they've reduced it from 4 days to 3 days, closing down on Friday night at 6 o'clock instead of Saturday. Are you surprised that there's been a little bit of a pushback for CES?
I'm not surprised that some companies have made that decision. I mean, they have to make a risk-based decision on protecting their employees, and that's the call that each CEO has to make. For instance, we had our big, huge black tie gala just 3 weeks ago down in Miami at the Nobu Hotel in South Beach, and we had 220 people there in ball gowns and tuxedos, and it was a great time for St. Jude's, and we didn't think about canceling for 1 minute. The larger, big conventions that are attracting 10, 20,000 people, of course, you're going to have 10 or 20% of those companies that decide maybe now it's not the time to go. So, I think if you look at it for the, in the near term, you might see some temporary dips. But if you look at the long-term trends, 2022 is going to be a strong year for the travel comeback. Business travel is still depressed. But all indications are saying that by 2024, at least, business travel will be fully recovered. But certainly leisure travel is in the lead right now in terms of recovery.
What about international travel? I'm curious about that.
Well, so we thought that about a month ago, November 8th, when the president announced that 33 countries that were previously banned could now come to American shores, we did see a huge uptick in searches and bookings, and then Omicron hit, and so there was a bit of a dip. I think in the next couple weeks, as Omicron fades and it becomes endemic, which is what people are saying, I think the European folks should be looking to return back to the States. But I think Omicron maybe delayed that by a month or two.
I'm curious because I've seen figures of 40, 45, 46% increase among British adults and their plans to travel overseas. Does that surprise you that some countries are very, very bullish on this international travel thing, the UK being one of them?
Absolutely. And, we have some executives in Amsterdam, and they've shared with me that it's, at first it was a bit chaotic and confusing, and there was a knee-jerk reaction in Europe, I think, globally. But I think now that a month has passed and people are seeing, the effects of Omicron, Europeans want to travel too, and they do a lot more travel between their countries in the EU than, just like we travel between states here. So there's 2 years of pent-up demand for travel, whether you're European or whether you're American or from the Asia-Pacific region. So there's no doubt that millions of Europeans are going to be coming to American shores this year. And travel will pick up within Europe as well in the coming months.
Again, Philip Ballard joining us, Chief Communications Officer and Head of Investor Relations for a group called HotelPlanner.com. Have hotels had to adjust their business model for the pandemic over the course of the last couple of years?
They absolutely have, because there was a major loss of staffing right at the height of the pandemic with all the furloughs. A lot of those people chose to either not return to the hospitality industry or now, change industries. So the hotels have had to pivot and to be, flexible and evolve in how they hire. So a lot of them are doing, more round robin, offers on the same day of the interview, perks, signing bonuses, things like that. Hotels have struggled the past 2 years, but the silver lining is that, occupancy is actually up right now. Revenue per room is up right now. And a lot of the hotels had full occupancy over the hotel season. Of course, this week with all the airline cancellations, the airport hotels are probably doing quite well. That's a hotel stay that maybe most people don't want to have, but they are hotel stays. So I would say, over the past 2 years, the hotels have really been forced to make their own pandemic pivots, and many have succeeded and are doing quite well. That said, there are still deals to be found. For instance, like in New York City, you can still find some pretty inexpensive deals because New York has not returned to normal levels of occupancy as of yet.
I'm curious what you see here in Las Vegas and room rates. I mean, we always look at room rates and capacity and all of that stuff. Has Las Vegas essentially come all the way back, or does it still have a ways to go?
Well, I don't want to quote you specifically on Las Vegas rates, but I was actually looking at Reno rates the other day, and there are 3- and 4-star hotels that are still within the $100 to $150 range in Reno. So I would imagine on the outskirts or in Las Vegas that is also the same. Now, obviously, in the larger hotels that are $400 to $800 a night type of hotel stays, that's a different. A lot of those hotels are doing very, very well because, like you said, some corporate events are returning to Las Vegas. A lot of famous musicians are doing residencies and shows and concerts in Vegas. I mean, Vegas is definitely back. I would say Vegas has been back for the past at least 6 months. So Vegas has been on our radar screen for the past year as a premier top destination for Americans and people from all over the world.
I think it's wonderful. If folks want to know more about what you do at Hotel Planner, where do they go?
HotelPlanner.com, and if you want to learn about the investment opportunity, because we're going public on NASDAQ via a 3-way SPAC IPO merger, they would go on HotelPlanner.com/investors, and they can check out our public-facing investor materials.
Hey, Philip, thanks so much for joining us. We'd love to have you on again sometime. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a Happy New Year.
Thanks, Kevin. Keep the faith, and Happy New Year.
There you go, Philip Ballard, the Chief Communications Officer and the Head of Investor Relations for HotelPlanner.com.